Alright, 10.3, number 71 is another word problem dealing with ellipses. It's a whispering gallery. So if you remember, when I've got an ellipse, I've got a center, I've got foci. We talked a little bit about how the foci the sound will bounce up and then right down to the other side if you're standing from one to the other. So that's kind of what this one is about. So this one tells us that it's 100 feet in length. So what I'm going to do is draw half of an ellipse like so. I'm going to label this as being 100. It's in feet. It's good to know for the end when we give our answer. And then it says, so I'm going to mark the center of this thing. What that tells me is that this length is half of the 100, so it's 50. Remember that when I've got an ellipse, the foci are always along the major axis, right? So it tells me that the foci are on the floor, so I know that this is the longer of the two axes. My foci are here. I'll label that C for center. And here, they tell me that this length is 25 feet. So it's really a matter of identifying. Remember, you've got an A, you've got a B, and you've got a C for these ellipses. So the A is center to edge along the longest, so that becomes the 50. The B is center to edge on the shorter side, so that's this. That's what we're looking for, because it asks, let's say, how high will the ceiling be at its center? So that's that height there. The C is distance from center to focus, right? So that's 25. So now I just use these values and I plug them into our formula that looks kind of like the Pythagorean theorem. C squared is A squared minus B squared. So my C is 25. So I do 25 squared equals my A is 50 minus B squared. I don't know what it is. I want to solve for it. So this gives me 625. Actually, I'll go down to there. So 625 equals 2500. Sorry, that's not 25. Yeah, it's 2500. Yep. Minus B squared. If I shuffle around a little bit and square root, I get B equals root 1875, which, so a lot of times I tell you to leave it in simplified square root form, which we would want to look at factors, probably try to see if 25 divides into this, which it will. Then we check other numbers, but this is asking like feet in terms of a ellipse. So it makes more sense in this case to give a decimal. Plug that into your calculator. You get 43.301 feet. I know that we're not going to get that accurate when we actually measure out that height. It might be pretty near impossible, but I want you to be in the habit of doing 3 decimal places because it'll help you out a lot later. And that's our answer for this one. Hopefully that's not too bad.